Fantastic. All right. So let me introduce our fabulous panelists. We have, as part of our panel discussion, the meat in the sandwich or vegan alternative, people who have got experience of moderating and being a guest on a panel. And they're going to share with us now how they prepare, perform, and benefit from saying yes to a panel. Please welcome Asif Chowdhury and Simi Gandhi Whitaker and Fiona Mackay and Sharon Amesu. Hello, hello, hello. And I think Heather is spotlighting all of those people. Yes, you should be seeing us larger on the line and perhaps normal in the thumbprint. So Asif, hello. You're the Sales and Marketing Director at Resource, and Asif is also a Chartered Marketer and Fellow of the Chartered Institute of Marketing. I think it's fair to say he's involved in marketing, right? So Sharon, hello Sharon. Where are you, lovely Sharon? Yeah, thanks for painting your office blue, by the way. Cover. Sharon is an equality, diversity and inclusion specialist and works with leaders to help them be better, basically, don't you, Sharon? Okay. Fiona Mackay is the MD of Lightbulb Leadership Solutions and the founder of Feedback First, that looks at the role that gender-biased feedback conversations have on women. International Women's Day this year. I bet you are panel booked out, Fiona, with that information and your research, of course, called Why Feedback Holds Women Back. And then Simi, last but not least, Simi Gandhi Whitaker works for Mighty PLC. You might have seen their logos on vans everywhere. You'll know the logo, Mighty. It's a facilities management organisation. And Simi has a role as Strategic Innovation and Technology Director, showing Mighty's clients how tech can add real value to their real estate decisions. So on the cusp of modernity, indeed. And when it comes to panels, Simi reckons authenticity is key. So Simi, to you first then. How might you be authentic on a panel?
Be yourself, in simple words. I mean, I've learnt the hard way to try and be something different over the years. One director, old-fashioned, male, not anything against the male or the typical norm, but he was just not exciting, not interesting. And he told me to be a chameleon and that I must adapt to certain situations and be that person in that situation. And I was quite young at the time and coming through my career, and yeah.
That's not what you need to hear, is it? It's like fit in, blend in, love, and you'll be all right. But that's
what I've realized is fitting in is not what I do. I want to be myself. I want to be different. I want to stand out. And actually, that's what's got me to the position that I am today.
Great, good. And you do that on panels, giving yourself permission to do that. So welcome all of you. Thank you very much for joining me and being my friend for the book launch and masterclass. That's really nice of you. And I want to know what your tips are, or what your main approaches when it comes to preparing for panels. Now, I know some of you have done more moderating than being panelists, but let's take a flavour. Simi, I'll come back to you first. You're mostly a panelist. How do you prepare? Just briefly, we are tight on time for a little bit because we want to get to questions, but how do you prepare?
Well, I kind of stalk the other panelists to find out what they're all about and where I would stand out and add value. So, I think it's about giving each other that airtime and being kind and sort of, and what value do I bring to the panel? I think it's about really understanding the topic and actually being passionate about the topic. So I won't just rock up to a panel just for the sake of having my face somewhere and thinking I might get a little bit of a mini PR or social media coverage. I do it because I care and I'm passionate about it. And also just kind of key salient points. I think Penny's top tips were really important, but just, be really direct and straight to the point in what you want to get across, and also what you want to be remembered for. So hopefully that's coming across today.
Yeah, absolutely. Asif, you have both moderated and taken part as a panelist. Which one do you prefer?
I think it depends on the subject, to be honest with you. Both have got their advantages and disadvantages, but I think the having that power as the moderator is quite a good feeling, I think, to be honest with you.
Power. So you don't feel like chopped meat, like just always sort of like a side show. You actually feel that there's power. Is that because you can direct the conversation and take it where you want?
Yeah, very much. And I think the whole point of a panel is to spotlight the skills of the actual guests themselves, because the moderator's there to do a job and it's the panel who are delivering the content. So that making sure the conversation is flowing, but definitely if you're a moderator, I think you've got to accept that role for what it is, and you're just making sure the agenda's flowing, the conversation's flowing, but you've got to make sure the speakers are getting their airtime, and you know what's right about the speakers, and you know who to go to for which answers to which questions, especially when it's an open question portal as you've got now.
Fiona.
Hi, Penny. Yeah, I agree with that. I think I prefer moderating and echo a lot of Asif's points there. And the reason I really enjoy moderating is I'm quite a curious person. So I'm really interested in how I can get answers to questions, which typically, to Simi's point, some people on panels feel a little bit cautious about answering, but you can tell they really, really want to share it. And I know when I'm in the audience observing a panel, that's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear the corporate claptrap. I actually want to get inside someone's mind, their thoughts, their experiences, their opinions, and have those as my takeaways. So as a panel moderator, I really love doing that.
And rather brilliantly, you, Fiona, got asked to step in last minute, didn't you, to a moderator's shoes? And this was at a big event, and it was the Prime Minister of Greece, am I right, who'd bailed out? Oh, is that the wrong term to use with Greece? Bailout. But anyway, you stepped in, didn't you? That wasn't planned. You stepped in to his shoes and moderated a really top-notch panel, didn't you? That's scary.
Yeah, and it was scary. And I said, look, to the event organisers, I was already there doing a keynote. And it's when Omicron had hit. It was a big conference over in Barcelona. So people's travel plans literally changed at the 11th hour. And as a world leader, he just couldn't leave. So the event organiser said, oh, can we just ask you whilst you're here, would you mind stepping in? I said, well, can I just manage some expectations here? I am not a world leader. Let's get this down. I tell you what, we'll make it really easy. Can you just get him to send his questions and I'll read them out? I thought, oh, I've smashed it there. No, it doesn't quite work like that. Could you ask your own? Oh, God. So I stayed up all night. And I did my questions, and I stepped in, and there was 15 really powerful world leaders around that table as well in financial services and banking. And I was really proud with the fact that I thought, you know what, I'm not him. I've just got to ask some really good questions and get some really interesting conversation. And I've got nothing to lose. I've not been billed here. So I can perhaps ask the questions that maybe he couldn't have. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I would recommend, if you do get those opportunities and you think you can do it and you want to challenge yourself, go for it, because you're there for a reason. Back yourself.
Okay.